And you're and you're live. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wow, how long have we been doing this for? All right. So today we're gonna jump into the Project Arrowhead Teams app. It works. Fantastic. Good. Good news. Let's just turn that down a little bit. There we go. Okay. Let's do it. So I'm gonna immediately jump into sharing my screen. The entire screen. Uh-oh, you're gonna see all my secrets. Okay. Which one do I want to be in here? Let's I don't know. Let's go into this one. All right, so this one is oh, I didn't even know what my recent Gemini are gonna look like. All right, so I have this new way, like how uh if I archive an architect or if I archive a webmaster, then this is what it looks like. So you can see here's architect 10 for some reason, it's down here. And something about a thumbnail, something about a French tutor, something about an image request. This actually isn't the most recent. I'm sure I said something before. French answer key creation, scrap. This is scrap steel. Dark in the background. Okay, I don't need this dark in the background. I don't need the LDS French video playlist. Uh-oh, don't delete my Architect 12. All right, so there's at least here's enough. So here's Vortex 1. I'm still on Vortex 1. The last time I talked to Vortex was yesterday because I was asking it about this context window. And I was saying, hey, how much of your context window remains? And this one basically said, look, I'm running with a model with a 1 million token context window. And we're not even close. Yes, there's immense value in creating and maintaining our calibration document. Anyways, we're not really doing a lot of marketing right now. So let's just close up our Vortex, jump to Architect 12. So you can see here, Architect 11 was archived on November 11th. November 5th. And when I was archiving Architect 11, I noticed that actually my webmaster was also starting to get confused. So I had to update both the webmaster. I got a new webmaster and I got a new architect. Now the question being, like, to what extent do we even need these fancy dance calibration documents? So because at this point, I feel like Cascade is Windsurf is strong enough, it's good enough that to some extent the value of having an outside architect and an outside webmaster, it seems like, I don't know, like, am I getting additional value? It seems like the GPT-5 high reasoning is like beyond the capability the um, of Gemini 2.5 Pro. And also, like, what's going on? Like, why have we been using Gemini 2.5? Doesn't it feel like we've been using it for a really long time and nothing new has come out? So I just feel like, to some extent, like, is it doing its job? Yeah. Is it doing it good enough? It's like, I don't know, because I haven't actually like deployed my app. All right. Anyway, so I asked Cascade to go through all of these docs. So I have all these markdown documents. For example, there's one called API parity map, and then we got the architect calibration 12 MD. We got something about auth strategy. We got data health run book. We got some documentation system rules. We got the OMDL. We got the PDR 5.2. We got the production environment setup version 2. We got the README. We got the SLAD version 6. We got Sprint 9. And we got the test strategy. Probably it needs Sprint 9. Okay, so the question is like, these are all the calibration documents. These are all like the documents I could give to my architect. And there is an archive. If we jump into the archive, you can see that we do have previous OMDLs, previous operation documents, previous product requirement docs, previous product process documents, previous SLADs, previous sprint plans. So I've asked it a couple of times to go through the documents and put older versions of our calibration documents into the right folders. So we're maintaining a pretty good archive. So this represents the current most recent versions of these documents. And then the question is like, how much of this do I need to share with my Gemini based like architect and webmaster? Webmaster, just so you in case you don't know, webmaster is here. And webmaster's job is to work with with Supabase, with GitHub, with Cloudflare, with Stripe, with MailerLite. These are the external websites I'm using to run my website. So, of course, Supabase is for the database. GitHub is copying a version of my code, and then it deploys the code to Cloudbase. Cloudbase is the server, and then Stripe is going to be handling payments, and then MailerLite is for the emails. And in case you're wondering, we're talking about this. My website, it's called Project Arrowhead. This is the current version of the website. And I'm not really sure if it signs in anymore. It keeps asking me to go to like see, for some reason it fails to fetch over here. I don't know why. Maybe if I do a hard reset. It still doesn't sign in. Oh, it's signed in. Okay, check it out. So this is first time I've signed in on my, was it showing? Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. I'm signed in. So here you go. I'm the test owner. Now, an owner, see, I got to do something about this because if I click this scenarios, that it's going to bring me into the journey page. And then what? So this is the free version of the app. How do I get back into the paid version of the app? I'm so confused. All right, let's look up here. It says Arrowhead Pages Dev Journey. If I go back and I go back, then I got something about dashboard. Yeah, but how do I get into the dashboard? So anyways, the free version of the app, we got projects, we got objectives, we got scoreboard, and we got the rabbit race goal tracker. Now, vision, next, 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 and save vision. Okay, this vision didn't save. And then what? So this is a project. Now, the question is when you go to the objectives, then you need to select a project, and then it should, yeah, it's not showing. A lot of stuff isn't showing. And then the scoreboard is where we're going to select a project and then select an objective. We didn't create any objectives for this project, so the objectives are not going to show. It's not going to show us the scoreboard, and then it's not going to show us the rabbit race goal tracker. I have no idea what this is going to even look like. It doesn't look like anything. The real rabbit race goal tracker is here. So for example, like I made some videos recently of me studying some like different languages. And right now we are building the UX for the pro version. The next step is going to be to set up the Stripe. I read the news and I post information about some news articles I think is interesting. I'm currently reading a book. Right now it's the third book of the series. It's called Lily's Mountain. What's this? I'm thinking about using sandcastles and InVideo for my marketing. That's for Vortex up here. And then apartment renovations. I got some apartment renovations to do, but apparently I'm not really doing them. So this is it. This is the rabbit race. Now the rabbit race goal tracker, in fact, I've added some additional features. There's going to be like a box in the corner, which what you do is you're going to click the box, and then what happens is it changes color. And then you're going to click like the two most important tasks. They're going to go here and here, and then you have to pick one. So it's really because like I have problems sometimes with like just getting myself to start doing work, and I've just ironed it out to like what are all the things that you would need to do and think about in order to get some job done. So the last point is that if you have tasks, then and you're not sure like which task to do, then the best thing to do is then you're going to use this little dial. You're going to add two tasks to that dial. So because I don't know which task is the most important. Well, I guess these two tasks are the most important. So it forces you to put two tasks into a decision maker. And then it's like if you don't know how to make a decision, you can just flip a coin. Like, there might be I might just like have a little button that says flip a coin, and then it'll just spin and then it'll pick one. And then you just get to work. So like that's the point. Is like, okay, so then if you have two tasks, where did those tasks come from? Those tasks, they came from this chart of tasks. And where did this chart of tasks come from? It's the breaking down your main goals or your main tasks. And then where did those goals or main tasks come from? They came from this scoreboard. Now, of course, you can't see the scoreboard. I could show you what the scoreboard is going to look like from the free version of the app. Here's a scoreboard. You see how there's a task here? All these tasks here, they're gonna show up in so you're specific. If you're a member of the team, then all of the goals that are assigned to you are going to show up here. And then it's your job to break them down into smaller parts. And then also your manager is going to be able to see those so that they can call you up and say, now I don't see there should be I never even thought of that. So we're missing the touch base. Here it is, the touch base. There should be touch bases in here. So here you go. So we're just building like this is and then down here we got team. So we want to add a virtual persona. I'm gonna add Tim Harley, and we're gonna add that Tim Harley to the. All right, so we got a lot of problems here. So, anyways, we fixed the sign up thing. So we're now signed up. Let's sign out. There we go. So this one is just going to be the free version of the app because here you go. So we added this work with your teams. Now, when you go into the brainstorming module now, you can see this banner at the top of the screen. And when you get to the fifth step of the brainstorming module, then it's down here. It's like, hey, you can try Project Arrowhead's team free for 14 days, no credit card required, cancel anytime, already have an account, sign in. And this one appears again here at the end of the choose module and the end of the cooperation. I don't think it shows list page. No. In fact, even the banner disappears on the task list page. Anyway, so sometimes people are like, well, what's the point of like getting a team version if I can just use this app for free? Yeah, well, the problem is that you don't have a project. This is going to be saved directly into your browser. I don't have access to this data. But with the Teams app, you can create a project, and then inside of a project, then you can create these objectives. And then once you create the objectives, so it's about parsing data into specific projects and into specific objectives and into specific team members. See, the issue is that like I'm able to use this app to some extent with people that I'm teaching. Like these are people that I talk to on a daily basis, and not a daily basis, but on a weekly basis. And then, like, so sometimes we use this in order to come up with some objectives, like figuring what an objective should be, and then figuring out how to get that objective into a task management app. That's the whole value proposition here. Is that I'm trying to tell people that there's a thinking process for how to define objectives, and there's also a thinking process for how to turn objectives into a task management list. And then once you have your task management list, then you can use your own software. Probably your corporation has a Jira or a ClickUp or a Monday.com or anything like that. So you don't have to use this. In fact, you can download the full project as a PDF, or you can copy it as you can export your task list as a Markdown file or a JSON file or a CSV. Now, right now, it just says this. I mean, I think you can do this. I think it works, but the thing is that like I don't know if it's useful. So I didn't sign up with ClickUp, and then like I haven't figured out if you like copy this. If I click this button and then I go to my ClickUp, is it a one click and then this whole task management appears in your ClickUp? I think that would be useful. Because my value proposition, I'm not trying to say I have a better task management system, although I do have this rabbit race goal tracker, which I think is pretty awesome. What I'm trying to say is that there are some elements of my methodology that are going to be useful for a manager, particularly some of the information, some of the work of Tom Buchholz for creating the brainstorm module and the choose module. And then I've done a little bit adding the objectives module and also the touch-based module. And then also there's going to be like, there's also the vision module for the project. There's just a couple of different modules to help to create discussions around projects, objectives, tasks, delegation, task management, project management, follow-up, things like that. But it's not working. So now we're down to one day. We got 13 credits left, which is basically like I can ask it 6 things. I can ask it to do 6 things today. Now the question is, what 6 things are we going to ask it to do? It's got a bunch of stuff it wants to do here. It's got a big long task list. Anyways, I don't know. It started working on something. Implemented CF endpoints resolves 5. Archived older docs into the docs archive, the PRD SLA OMDL operations process docs. Added the Architect 12 calibration MD process output template for verified. Curious. So this is for Architect 12. How come I can't click into this? I don't know what's going on. All right, like I think I need to jumpstart Windsurf. Okay. Well, anyways, let's jump into. So I already like copied and pasted that last message. This is our webmaster. I prefer actually webmaster of the. Yeah, here it is, webmaster 2. So this is webmaster 2. Why would webmaster 2 be archived? Okay. We're all set. This is an excellent progress. You've delivered the batch 1 API functions of the architect prioritized to resolve 4 or 5 errors. It's ready for production verification. As webmaster, I'll now guide the project manager to verify these fixes on the live application. Signals to confirm the 4 or 5 errors are resolved. UI is unblocked. Project manager. Navigate to the Project Arrowhead dashboard. Okay. So I'm just going to do a new incognito window. And we're going to write Project Arrowhead Dev. Go to the sign up page. And Now, so this is the thing is because there's like some issues, then what's best is we're going to pause this log stream. We're going to clear the logs. I'm just going to reset this page. So here's my project. Here's the main branch. Let's view the details. Now we're going to go to functions and we're going to begin the log stream. Okay, now when we click this, we're going to test, we're going to go into we're going to sign into the app. Now, when I sign into the app, what happens is it creates this thing. Okay. So we got a problem. I entered the password. I entered the user name and password, but it didn't navigate to the page with the dashboard. Here is the log. So I'm going to pick up this log. Now we're going to inspect, go to the console, and we're going to highlight this. Can't highlight it. I picked up this text from the console. Some of the text wouldn't copy, so I took a screenshot. One, so you could see the full text of the section I couldn't copy. Here is what I copied. So Gordon, what are you up to? All right, now I'm gonna just do this one more time. When I signed in a second time, entered the sign in info and clicked enter. It navigated to the dashboard. Image 2. No additional info in the console. Here are the logs. All right, let's go pick up the logs. All right, now what are we supposed to do? So we navigated it over here, and then we need to load objectives. One, check. One, load objectives. Okay, so I mean, yeah, I could see the objectives. Tim Harley. I couldn't add a new team member. Console. Image 3 and log. All right, we can have 5 images, so that's why I'm just going all the way through. Okay, so now we're gonna select project 1. Couldn't select project. Okay, selected project 1. But doesn't show it's selected, and no way of creating an objective. Text NaN appears. Image 4. And no additional log. All right, so what you can do here is you just click enter. Okay, what else does he say here? Create objective. All right, so we can't add an objective because we didn't get that far. So we'll just add this. Now the thing is that right now I'm trying to train Gemini. So the issue here is uh, I want to add this data just so that it has some context to answer this. But I also want to get back to Windsurf. See, Architect has a lot more. Before I provide webmasters comments, I want to give you some calibration docs. Let's start with README. Here is README. Which docs do you want to see next? Oh, it didn't work. All right, so I want to calibrate my architect, and here's my list of documents. So I'm going to start with README. I'm assuming that it's going to give us some information about what it might want to read. Here's a I don't necessarily want Webmaster doing all of this work. Debugging, because Webmaster's not really for debugging. Webmaster's mostly for just like when it's time, we're going to go in. SLAD. So it wants SLAD. It wants PDR 5.2. FYI. Because the context window is so giant, I mean, might as well give it, it's not that much text. All right, so I gave it the product requirements document, and I gave it the system logic and architecture document. It didn't want the operational manual and decisions log for some reason. And it didn't want the documentation system rules. It didn't want the health. It didn't want anything else. It just wanted to understand. It didn't want the sprint. Didn't want the testing strategy. Which is fine. I don't really, let's not worry about it too much. See, the thing is that, like, I got the feeling like, all right, so let's talk to Cascade just a little bit. So I want to tell Cascade that Cascade's a little bit slow these days. I don't know why. So I provided the, what did they give it? SLAD and PRD to the new architect. Here's the response after reading your message and the following details. Then we go details. PM to architect. So we're going to just pick up those details. Architect's thoughts. What do you think? Okay, so there we are. We're back up and running. So basically now it's just going to be debugging. It's going to make some changes. It's going to, I mean, I don't need to be in here anymore because it's not going to look like this next time. The new architect is set up. Here's our current calibration docs. I could jump into README. So one thing I might be interested in doing with based on the list, provide sprint number 9. Let's just check to see what this guy thinks as well. wants the API parity map. He wants sprint 9. Auth strategy. Architect 12 calibration. Let's just close this up. And let's close this up. So it's working on this. Now, if we go back a little bit, we can see that it's a to-do list. All right, so the first thing is the inventory docs directory tree, identify markdown files and current structure. Draft new calibration docs set for Architect 12 based on current project needs. Revise current docs, create updated versions as needed, and archive superseded ones. Produce final curated doc list to share with Architect 12. Continue API parity debugging, and after docs are organized, implement CF endpoints on project. So it made this like list, and then I don't know, it kind of like forgot. And then it started working with these. I'll create the missing Cloudflare functions. So I don't really understand. Did it do all of those things? Produce final curated doc list to share with Architect 12. So apparently it's like it did it to some extent. Because then it moved on to the following task. Archive older docs. That's true. It did that. Added the Archive 12 calibration. Okay. And then it added the docs API parity map. Okay. I don't think I gave this one to. Replace token with valid superbase. don't know what this is. All right. Oh, it's done. Okay, here we go. So let's see, quick read for on your logs and screenshots. Findings. Add virtual persona, not implemented in Cloudflare functions. Option, note, architect's date field hypothesis isn't the NA cause. Fixed plan, switch IDs to string. Docs to review. All right. So now I just need to let the architect know that this is Cascade. Oops. What's going on here? I'm curious about this thing. Expect 200 array. Like, there's actually these curl tests. What am I supposed to do with these curl tests? Now the thing with architect is I don't actually want architect to do any of this. This is or sorry, webmaster. The stuff that webmaster is talking about right now is, yeah, you're on hold. But the thing is that I don't want webmaster dealing with debugging. I just want webmaster to help me when it's time to change when, like, if I got to work with keys, or when I got to work with these specific websites, getting details, getting information from these websites. Okay. Right. So I don't want it to like what am I supposed to do? I don't know. Like, am I supposed to actually make a decision about, hey, if you want, I can make these changes now and push as part of the parity batch. It's always asking these questions, and it's like I have no idea. I don't even care. Like, what are you saying? Even it's like you're sitting in the back of a taxi, and the taxi driver's like, "Hey, do you think I should turn left here?" And it's like, "What? That's not my job, bro. That's your job." All right, so basically, the next couple days, we got some. Basically, what's going to happen is, we're down to our last 11 credits, which means I can ask it to do 5 more things. I need to do use up these credits today or tomorrow. Basically, between today and tomorrow, we got to use up all these credits, and then it's going to be a new billing cycle. Now, the only question is really what to do with this. Do I have time on the weekend to keep working on this? So I got to look at my schedule, and I got to think about. He just keeps asking me stupid questions. Okay, so I think everything's fine. We're just everything's good. Let's go back to our Notion page. Yeah, so I updated the Webmaster's calibration doc. I put the Webmaster calibration doc inside a website. Nothing else is going on in here. Nice. Then we have the product doc, product requirements docs. There's nothing really going on in here. All of my in Google Drive. Then I have the Mira file. I got the PRD and Sprint. But this is kind of pointless now because I should probably put this into history. Because I don't really use these docs anymore. See, now everything is saved inside of our file system here on Windsurf. So, what do I need Notion for when I have internal file system? So here's all the history and the previous architects, which means that currently our R&D department is this. So this is the paid version of the app, which I'm now developing. Which means that, yeah, eventually we got to get back to the marketing department. The marketing department also have a calibration doc. We have the department vision, and then so we have a lot of work to do in the marketing department. But like, I have to have something to say before I can actually start marketing the product. The question is, can you market the free version of the app? I mean, yeah, I could market the free version of the app, but now we have a problem because we have a sign-in page. Now, once you have a sign-in page, then people are like, well, I can't sign in. Yeah, but I don't want you to sign in. I just want you to use this for the free version of the app. And it's like, what? That's confusing. So the question is like, okay, so is there something we can do before launching the app? Is there something, can we start to build an audience? That's true. We could start to build an audience because all of this stuff is built on some kind of hello Vortex. Hello. All right. So the thing is that I think that we should have a little discussion, which is basically that most of our focus has been creating the emails for the email marketing system and all of the onboarding for like getting helping people get our free course. And then we also talked about the blog articles. We wrote one blog article and we're starting to write the second blog article. And all of these things have been focused on basically trying to make sure that the website has everything that it needs. It has the blog section, it has the lead magnet section, and then also I'm working with Architect and Webmaster to take the actual app, like the different modules and the concept behind the product that we're building, and turn it into the paid version of the app. So that is still underway. And the question I have is that, well, is there work that we can do right now which does not include the actual website? For example, like we're not ready to launch the website. It might take another month. It might take another 2 months. I'm not sure how long it's going to take before we can launch the website. And I'm not really ready to tell people about the website because the issue is that there's like a sign-in button and a start your free trial button. And the question is, well, what happens when people start to click that and then they start having issues and then, so I don't necessarily like right now, I don't want to direct people to the website. I don't want people to be looking at the website. What I want is that we take some of the methodology behind this application and we take the methodology behind the information that I'm trying to teach and share with the world, and we want to turn that into like the most simple form. In the past, the way that I was thinking about my uh, business growth engine was that the business growth engine was going to be the blog articles, and then the blog articles we would use that to create the YouTube videos, and then from that we're going to use the YouTube videos to create short videos on top of the Instagram and maybe some other platform. And now, like, I'm not sure that that is the correct way to move forward. So like, because maybe what I need to do is I need to start to create, like, what is the smallest unit? What happens is I basically have around 10 uh, speeches, like 10 public speeches, 10 lectures, 10 chapters of this course. And each of those 10 chapters, they have smaller themes. And then within those themes, there are ideas. So I could list all of the ideas that we have in this book, in this book of thought that I'm trying to teach. And those ideas belong to themes, and I can list all of the themes that I'm teaching, and all those themes belong to lectures or chapters, and I could list all of those chapters. And so I think now what we want to do is we want to decide on like how can we start to provide these marketing messages so that we can start to bring people to our social media channels and start to build up these channels. And then after we've built up these channels, then what we can do is we can introduce the product at some future date. So like imagine that we were building a Instagram page, or we were building a YouTube channel, or we were building like a LinkedIn group. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to provide value for the users, for the community. And then imagine that someday, that in the future, that some company, like imagine that Project Arrowhead is a company, and then they come to our 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 uh, our social media because they want our page to do some kind of like they want us to talk about their product. Like imagine that we are the UGC creator, and we have a huge user base. We have a lot of fans and people who are paying attention to our content. And then Project Arrowhead believes that the content that we present and the audience that we've attracted is the perfect customer for their product. So we need to think of ourselves at this point as a company which is separate from Project Arrowhead, but that aligns in values and aligns in the methodology behind what we think project management, people management is all about. And what we need to do now is we need to build a community of users and of people who are sharing and talking about these topics that we feel are so important. And then at some future date, then we will be able to kind of say like, hey, we are this social media channel sponsored by Project Arrowhead. So if you're interested in using the things that we talk about here, the ideas about management, project management, people management, and then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and click the Project Arrowhead link and start using Project Arrowhead with this. Then we can offer some kind of code and some discount code, and then we could say even like remember to tell them that we sent you there for 10% off. So it looks like there's like an arm's distance between our marketing department and the actual product development. So even though both of these things are me behind the product and the marketing, and you are going to be helping me to put together this marketing strategy and marketing campaign and start to build these online presence. But so that's in the background. But from the surface, it looks like that these are two different endeavors, and at some future date, then they will align to some extent. All right, so Windsurf is working on that. Yeah, so that's what I think nowadays is that I think that this is this debugging process. I think we've gotten to the point now with our product that it's like it's I have the vision is clear, what needs to happen is clear, and then at some point we're going to be in the testing phase where I'm going to be using it with real people. And the question is like, how do we actually start to do this? Now, let's just let's share this directly. I want to listen to the voice of this one. So let's stop there. Let's jump in directly to a share like this.
Project Manager, this is a brilliant and necessary strategic pivot. You've identified a critical flaw in our current path. We're building a content engine, blog posts, emails, to fuel a product that isn't ready for traffic. This creates a high-risk, all-at-once launch. The new strategy you've proposed is not only a solution, it's a better strategy. My understanding of the new signal. I understand the new plan perfectly. Here's my summary of our new directive. Decouple content from product. We will stop all work that assumes a near-term website launch. Our marketing efforts will no longer be dependent on the technical team's timeline. Build the media brand first. Our new primary objective is to build a successful, standalone media brand on social platforms: LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. We will operate like a thought leader or UGC creator. Focus on community, not conversion. The goal of this media brand is to build an engaged community that knows, likes, and trusts our ideas. The primary call to action will be to follow, subscribe, or join the conversation, not to visit our website. The future sponsorship: once this media brand has a large, dedicated audience, we will introduce Project Arrowhead as the sponsor and the ultimate tool that implements the very ideas our community has grown to love. This is a classic, powerful, build an audience first model. It de-risks our product launch entirely. By the time the website is ready, we will have a warm audience of thousands waiting for the solution. The new action plan: the social first growth engine. Our business growth engine diagram is still relevant, but the flow and priorities are now reversed. Instead of starting with a website blog post, we start with the smallest unit of thought. Here is the new, step-by-step plan to execute this strategy, starting today. Phase 1. Deconstruct your core IP, the content mine. You have the raw materials, approximately 10 lectures, chapters, which break down into themes and ideas. We must now inventory this IP to create a scalable content plan. Step 1.1. Map your 10 chapters. You and I will list the titles or core concepts of your 10 foundational lectures. Step 1.2. Deconstruct one chapter. We will select one of those chapters and break it down into its core themes. Step 1.3. Define the smallest unit of thought. We will take one of those themes and extract 5 to 10 small, powerful, standalone ideas. Phase 2. The new, social-first, content flywheel. This is how we will turn those small ideas into a multi-platform content strategy. Start with the smallest unit of thought: LinkedIn, Instagram post. We take one idea, e.g., the huddle versus play rhythm, and write a short, punchy text post for LinkedIn or create a simple text, graphic post for Instagram. Expand to a short video, reel, short. We use that same text post as a script for a 60-second video. You can speak directly to the camera, explaining that one concept. Bundle into a long-form video, YouTube. After we've created 3 to 5 short videos on a theme, we will create a full 10-minute YouTube lecture that ties all those ideas together into a comprehensive lesson. Drive to community. The call to action, CTA, for all content will be to follow for daily management tips or subscribe for the full deep dive. Today's signal: let's start phase 1. To begin this new strategy, we must start at the source. Please share the titles or core concepts of your 10 foundational lectures. We can then select one to deconstruct, find its smallest unit of thought, and I will draft our very first piece of social media content.
All right, interesting stuff. So that means we're jumping into the marketing messages, and the department vision is to create a clear path that leads a curious manager from their first click to their first completed objective. The process of turning a stranger into an engaged user. All right, so pre-first click. Follow for daily management tips. What is this? Instagram posts. Season 1, Rabbit Race, Call Tracker, Scoreboard. Exactly. Crazy. All right, I'm done here. This is exactly what's already in here. So this is the thing. It's like you forget about something for a couple of weeks, and you come back, and then it's like, okay, here it is. Here's your 9 seasons. Here's all your ideas. Now, but the interesting thing is that this is talking about my content from the perspective of the tool. But then there's another perspective of the tool versus perspective of the lectures. How do I do this? All right, so lecture 1 is called the corporate menu. And then we go to RACI matrix. And then we keep going from there. Okay, that's good. I'm done. I gotta take a break. But boy.